Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this time I'm gonna get into some engine stuff. What this is this is Adventure Game Studio, and this is a piece of software that has been evolving for many years, and it's pretty incredible, really. It was originally designed to emulate Sierra and LucasArts style adventure games. It's actually gotten. I think you can do more than that with it now, or more than I think was ever intended originally. It's grown so much. You can really do a lot with it. Um, for those of you who don't know about my history with adventure games, not that there's much, but I did a game called, well, I'm still working on a game called Han Solo Adventures, and this is the engine that I use to make that, and you can check that out at hansoloadventures.com, and there's actually a demo, and anyway, so if you're trying to make an adventure game, this is a really great way to start. And whether or not I'm going to be using this particular engine for Jack Houston, quite honestly, still remains up in the air. But I wanted to kind of go over this because no matter what engine I use, a lot of these fundamentals here are going to remain intact. They're going to be there. What am I talking about? Well, there's we've got and these are just general settings here about the game size. One of the problems with this particular engine that I'm not real happy about is that it only supports up to 1024 by 768, which certainly is a very high and crisp resolution in comparison to Sierra and LucasArts classic adventure games. I'd like to do HD though, so that's one reason we might go with a different engine. And there's a few others, but anyway, getting back to the capabilities of the engine, what this engine does really well is it organizes everything you need in an adventure game engine in exactly kind of the way you need it. For instance, you can start with sprites here, and these are just some test demo sprites, and then you go into there's a text parser. Now we're not going to be using that. That would be kind of neat, but if you wanted to do an adventure game with a text parser like the earlier EGA Sierra games, for instance, you could certainly do that. Let's get into inventory items here. So if we open up inventory items here, we see these are items that you can use in your inventory, and this is a place to create all those graphics that would go in the inventory and be used, that you can collect and utilize later. Dialogues. I could create a new dialogue here. I could create a dialogue where somebody says, I don't know where the monkey went, and I could respond, what monkey? I could respond, you took it and you know it. And you could respond, tell me the secret of Monkey Island. Okay, so there's three options. Okay, so then we're gonna go here. We see in this script, here are our three options, and so under option one, now what these check marks do is they say, okay, I want to show this particular option as a dialogue option, and I want to say it, which means that if I click it in the dialogue option, my character is actually going to say that. I can take that off, and you could do a dialogue, that describes it more. So ask about the monkey. I take off say, so he won't say that. He or she will not say ask about the monkey. In this case, it would just play option one, and then I can say, Jack. Say that's my main character. or cjack dot say, and and script. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm scripting this. That means that I'm actually gonna have to indent this. But anyway, I could script out what the character says here, and then I could even do, actually, I'm sorry. In this dialogue, you don't even have to indent it. I can just say Jack and then type out what he says. But anyway, you can stick script in here and take away inventory items, add inventory items, kill people, go to a new room. You can do all kinds of things within here by simply scripting it, in which case you would indent. Or you can just write out a script and say Bob quote colon blah blah blah, Fred colon blah blah blah, and when those characters will talk. And then you can even use scripting within here to remove options in the dialogue list and add new options. So I can create a whole bunch of new options, and I can not show these options in the beginning, and I can use script to reveal them. So I can take away options 1, 2, and 3 and add options 4, 5, and 6, and it will change the dialogue box as you go along. So anyway, it's a really powerful dialogue engine here, and that may have been kind of a blur, but I think if you play LucasArts games a lot, that probably made a little more sense. Obviously, if you're playing, you're doing a Sierra type game, it's going to be different because typically, except in certain games like Gabriel Knight, you don't really have that detailed dialogue engine in Sierra games. You would just sort of click talk, and there would be like a script that would just play. What you, of course, could do here and just not show these options, but you wouldn't really need to come in here at all, probably, if that's the case, and you're doing that kind of game. So here we go to views. And a view is basically an overlay of a set of animations for everything you would want that particular character to do. So, if I had, in LucasArts games, what do they call them? It's clothing or suit or no, that's not suit. But it's worded like clothing. I'll probably figure it out and put it in the comments. But anyway, it's what it's like a skin. So if your character is wearing a spacesuit, you'd have a view of him walking left, walking right, up, down, and all that good stuff with the spacesuit. Then you make another one without the spacesuit or with a hat or whatever, and you can change that character to a different view at any given time within the game. So this is where you would take your sprites, which would be here, and organize them into views, which is here, to create your different outfits or costumes. I think that's actually what they call them, costumes. Could be wrong. Okay, so characters, and I got a little temporary spaceman here, but this is the character of Jack, and so we can say, well, I want him to start. This is his name, C Jack, and that's a coding thing. You just put C in front of it with what they call camel caps or camel case, which means you start little and then you capitalize after that. Anyway, that's a coding thing there. So I'd see Jack. I would start in room 3. Start at these coordinates in room 3. These are actually my coordinates. I can change all sorts of speed settings and speech settings and animation settings and all kinds of things here. So every character in the game would have a character here, and this is where I would set that character's initial view. And so that's where I would organize my characters. Then I can create mouse cursors. I can make different cursors for different things here. I can have different fonts. So I might have a font for speech. I might even have a font, that's different for a particular character, which is going a little overboard, but you can do that. This is where I would organize my speech, music, sounds, all that good stuff. And this is, if you're doing speech for every line in the game, you would actually have, what you would do is you'd have audio files that would correspond to each one of those dialogue options, and it would be it's a big, well, it's not really a mess, but it's a big undertaking to get that organized. But it's all fairly automatic. As long as you have a list of all those lines, you can easily organize and put all your speech, audio speech lines in the folder, in the correct folder, and get them, and they're used automatically. And then we've got different kinds of music and sounds, and this is where all that's organized. Pretty straightforward. Global variables. This is, of course, if I wanted a variable called money, and this is how much money Jack had, and it's an integer, meaning it's a whole number. Or I could have, somebody's name stored as a variable, and it would be a string. Or I could have, here we go, self, self, we could do this, v, I usually do this, v, no, that would be view, I don't use that, I don't think I use I have a convention for variables, but let's just call it self destruct. And then we make it Boolean, which just simply means it's a variable that can be 1 or 0, or on or off, false or true, and that's really what we would call it, true or false. And so we're going to call it false, and that means, at some point in the game, maybe you find something, throw a switch, and set self-destruct to true. Oh no! Or you can just make one that's, a Boolean, and this is more likely. Puzzle blah solved. Okay. Or puzzle 72 solved. Okay, and we would start that as false. So now when we get to that puzzle, you might give it a more descriptive name, but anyway, you get to that puzzle, you can set this to true, and then that would be a flag in the game. So these are variables that you can use to control the game. And scripts here, the main thing is global script header, and your global script, your main script file here. This is it can be a beast. It's actually not too bad in this particular template, but which is based on the Sierra verb coin, but I'm sorry, the LucasArts verb coin. But this is where the meat of your game and all of the script is going to go. But you really don't need to know too much about that. It helps a lot, and you certainly probably will need to eventually figure some of it out. But for the most part, you can get started without knowing any of this, and learn bits and pieces of it as you go, as you need them. Plugins are a way to expand the engine. I don't have any plugins. And these are your rooms. And so we could say new room. Let's make a blank room. It's room number 4. And we're going to edit it, and here's the room script, nothing in it yet. And here we could say, okay, well, let's say there's a picture here, and I would use that to change, to stick a picture in there, but I'm not going to. Well, actually, yeah, let's use this one. This was, yes, we're going to change. Okay, so this is a demo picture. But let's, take this and say walkable areas. Okay, and draw a little walkable area here, and then fill it. Okay, now we have, and I'm gonna right click to erase, and those are my drawing tools up here. Straight line, this is freehand, box, fill, all that good stuff. Okay, so I just created a walkable area. So if I put a character there, he's gonna walk around, and if I set the scaling level over here, he's going to, I'm sorry, if I turn this to true, and I say this is going to go from 60, or from 60 to 100, then he's going, my character is going to be at 60% size back here, and 100% size down here, and so that's how we introduce scaling. And then we can have walk behinds, which means that I could come in here and color this guy here in, that's a terrible job, but you get the idea, and say, okay, and then my character is now going to walk behind that object, and we need to grab, well, anyway, okay, so that kind of, this has been an overview of the engine, and I'll be back later and discuss more about it. But thanks.